and going forward on the initiative. Thank you in particular for those who traveled far to come, including someone who arrived at midnight, I understand. And thank you in particular to Mark and ISOC. We all recognize the potential that seamlessly connected experiences create in and outside the home. The potential is both in the projected global economic impact of IoT, as well as the new and innovative experiences that will be available. The complexity of IoT security will be an ongoing challenge as the market develops and more citizens and businesses adopt IoT. The rapid pace of this market is challenging all stakeholders. Governments need to be dynamic and responsive while fully considering the range of tools to address cyber challenges. Stakeholders outside of government are also shaping the governance of IoT through industry initiatives and internal business practices. We see the multi-stakeholder approach as one that can unite the diversity of voices and frameworks on IoT security to ensure they are cohesive, forward-looking, and reflect the shared responsibility of all stakeholders. The Government of Canada is a strong supporter of the multi-stakeholder approach. For my department, I said, this means inclusive and transparent policymaking, where stakeholders significantly affected by a public policy challenge have the chance to be involved in addressing it. Inclusion in these processes is essential to create trust and legitimacy. Inclusion also ensures the process leverages expertise across stakeholder groups to address urgent and complex public policy challenges. In addition to inclusion and transparency, other conditions for a successful multi-stakeholder process are ensuring that outcomes are stakeholder-driven and consensus-based. Many actors, industries, and stakeholder groups are implicated by IoT security. From the Government of Canada's perspective, IoT is a cross-cutting issue, as evidenced by the broad participation we have from federal departments today. ISET in particular has joined as a founding partner in this multi-stakeholder initiative in order to make progress on addressing IoT security challenges. We are fully engaged and will do our part to help this initiative succeed. Preparing for this meeting, ISET focused on aspects of IoT security where the initiative can have maximum impact within a limited time frame. Considering the unique Canadian dimension of these challenges is also critical. We support the proposed definition of IoT because it presents a clear segment of the IoT ecosystem that creates risk for IoT adoption. These are the devices that prior to IoT were not open to or transmitting data over the global internet. These devices are least able to repel attacks. The initiative can also build off global government and non-government efforts to address IoT security. In particular, the US NTIA has progressed its own multi-stakeholder initiative on upgrading IoT device upgradability and patching. The outcomes from this process could be applied in the Canadian context. There are two broad thematic areas set out for this initiative: consumer protection and network resilience. On consumer protection, we see users' expectations of IoT as a starting point that will shape how the technology is adopted. Consumer awareness of the risks and how to mitigate them is vitally important. Second, a focus on network resilience recognizes that as IoT integrates more into everyday life, there will be greater need for continuous functionality of devices and protection of data traveling over networks. Achieving the required level of resilience is a cross-cutting objective that requires collective effort of all stakeholders. We are looking for a dynamic discussion of both these areas within the range of stakeholders today. I think I've heard a question about what will happen after this process, how will the outputs be used? And I think that the intent is the outcomes will be used broadly by all stakeholder groups. Certainly from a government perspective, we will closely look at all the outputs at the end of the process, during the process, and see how we can adapt and use them. Looking at consumer best practices, guidelines could be one area. Certainly all stakeholders, technical community, civil society, academics, everyone in the room, I think you can all look forward to places you can apply some of the outcomes from this process. So let's have a great day and the beginning of this, I think, really important initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Just going to catch up on the slides here. I'd like to invite Larry Strickling to the podium.